Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. TGT News, an entertainment industry interview show where we interview the entertainment industry, creative people of the internet and stage and screen and all the other fun stuff. And of course, I'm your host, Kurt. Yeah, I'm sort of kind of changing up the intro there a little bit here.
Not a problem. That's cool. I like the stage and screen part. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. I was watching too much Inside the Actor Studio with James Lipton.
There you go.
What happens. You've heard this guy on the show a few dozen times, at least over 60, maybe 60 or so times actually at last count. He is our longest running co-host on TGT. We are joined once again by the ever talented Byron Wilkins, the old fart. I mean,
that is my title. I'm officially an old fart.
One of the few titles that we get, besides steak, but that's when Don's co-hosting. I'm off kilter, but we are joined, of course, by Byron Wilkins from the retired 1977 thecomic.com.
Yep, sad day.
It's retired. You know, as soon as I saw that post, I said, you know what, I got to get you back on the show because it's been too long. And you know, 1977 has always been that type of comic where you go there, you got some great humor, you got of course the rock and roll, all the other stuff that we know and love about 1977. That's right. And you know, why did you want to hang it up after all this time?
You know, I think I've said before, and I'll repeat myself, that 1977 for me was an internship into the business, and also was teaching me to redraw. Because, you know, as people may or may not know, I hadn't drawn for 30 years. So back in 2007, when I thought, well, let's see if I can draw again, I couldn't draw at all, you know, and I had to relearn. And so for most of 2007, I taught myself how to draw again. And in 2008, when I launched the comic officially, I was terrible, in my opinion. I mean, people like seeing the progress, but oh my God, the 2008 strips are just terrible. They're poorly written. So the whole idea was to teach me how to draw, teach me how to write, get me back into the comic strip, you know, frame of mind. And the past year, because of my, again, people may or may not know about my wife's medical issues. She's been having, just had both her hips replaced. And it took them over a year to figure out she had allergies to metal and all that. So it was very prolonged. And I had to take a lot of time off in 2012 because of that. And when I came back, I was very enthused at the beginning of this year, beginning of 2013. I was very enthusiastic, and I got back into the groove. The same old gang was dropping by, and I was loving it and all that. But I found myself more and more, every time I went to draw the comic, that it was becoming more stressful. And it wasn't something I still enjoyed it, but it was one of those things. It became, I've got to do this, and it's like, and it's like, it became a stress all of a sudden. And I also found that I wanted to do other things. I was really enjoying doing pinups. I was starting to draw, and I was starting to draw pretty much Lorraine storylines anyway. And Lorraine wasn't the main character, Bud was, which is me, you know. And I thought, well, if I'm going to be doing this, I really should have another format. I should either do another comic, or I should just go into whatever it is I want to do. And I was getting a lot of commission requests, and it's like, so one thing led to another, and my wife had her final hip replaced here last month, and I just was running out of time, and I thought, instead of trudging along and not enjoying the comic, which is you're supposed to enjoy what you love, let's just put it to rest. Now, as you and I talked about, you know, I've said before, never say never. I may bring it back when I have time. I don't know when, you know, type of thing. There are still some 1977 adventures in me. I have a couple storylines I did not finish, so I know I do want to finish those. So I don't know when. It'll be this year or next year, but I am going to do them, and they'll be in the full page format that I was doing there for a while. Right. And for C2E2 this year, at the end of this month, I am putting together a book of all those full page comic storylines. They'll be in one book, it's about 50 pages or something like that. And it'll be in one story, and then all three of those stories, I think it's 3 stories, be all together. And I've put a little intro in there. That way, if you've never read the comic before, you'll catch on. So I'll have that. But I'm looking this year at C2E2 to draw commissions and take commissions. So not necessarily draw them on, I'll draw them on spot if they want, but I'm literally looking to take commissions and say, okay, I can do this, but I'll send it to you, you know, type of thing. Because I'm a digital artist. I have been drawing live more, yay, thanks to Denver Brubaker and the gang and Jeff and I'm going to drop his name. Marooned.
Yeah, it's Tom.
Tom. I want to say Tim, and it's Tom.
Tom Delarenga.
Yeah, he'll hit me next time he sees me, and because he's an angry guy. Anyway.
Yeah, at least I could say his name right this time.
Well, yeah, I'm
the last time. Oh boy.
Well, you even, at least you tried. I was going to go with Tim, and it's like, I know it's not Tim, it's Tom. So anyway, sorry, Tom. Anyway, at least I remember the other guy's name. So anyway, we've been getting together every couple months here in Chicago for drinks and draws and all that, and it's been encouraged me to draw live more. And I've been reading up and studying Tom Richmond's book, The Mad Caricatures. And that's really helped me a lot because it's talking about forming the face and doing characters, and I'm getting a little more confidence in doing like avatars and stuff. I mean, I don't want to do characters as a living, but certainly, it doesn't hurt occasionally to do something like that. So what my next venture will be is I'm taking classic old 40s and 50s style pinups, those classic poses, and I'm redoing them in modern style. I'll be using Lorraine, I'll maybe use Robin, and I'll use different female faces as I start drawing more. Depending. I just recently did Lorraine as a Playboy bunny with her back looking at you from that World War II pinup. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start doing stuff like that, and I'm going to put that together in a book here, probably by the end of the year, and see how that goes. And we'll see. Hopefully it'll be like a coffee table book. Because it's not going to be explicit. It's going to be pinup, and pinup styles are suggestive. They're not just out and out Playboy style, though I don't mind doing that, if you pay me. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I like doing the pinup style because it's more of a tease. And I think that's actually more fun to draw than just, blatantly naked people. And it's like, also it's kind of weird, it's like, this looks like somebody. Anyway.
Gotta have that legal disclaimer. This man, blah, blah, blah.
Anyway. All right. So that's what's going on with me at the moment. And even just talking to you today, it took me half an hour to get here because I had to go get drugs and everything for my wife, and the legal drugs.
Yes.
The illegal drugs are for me.
Come on. Yeah, I don't edit this stuff. What are you doing to me, man?
I just did a Facebook post the other day, and I was talking about how my sisters influenced me and all this. And my youngest sister's like, a lot of my friends or people on Facebook are, because she's a teacher, are students and parents and all that. And I didn't say you were smoking. I said I was. I said, besides, what you did. I'm not the one. So it's like, don't play innocent with me. Right? So I'm like, but I didn't tag her, so I'm like, no one's supposed to see it. So.
Yeah, there you go. And
I said, besides, you're responding now. You're the one bringing suggestion into everybody's mind. So anyway.
Yeah,
go ahead.
But you're still doing Webcomic Alliance. You're still working with that crew there, and that's going really strong. I'm keeping up with it as much as I can too. So
I'm actually very pleased and shall we say somewhat amazed that we've been doing it for 2.5 years or whatever, and we're still at it. And because you never know with things like that. It's like any type of grouping of people like that, especially creative types. It's like you never know. We go off half-cocked. And we've kind of rotated through some people, but, Dawn and I have kind of stayed at the core there and all this. And I'm really enjoying it, and I'm doing a couple podcasts with them. And I help with with some of the tutorials on for Manga Studio, which I enjoy. And that's the other thing I wanted to back up, and say about what 1977, as an internship, was to introduce myself to people like yourself and other members of the artistic community, and also, develop professional relationships like with Manga Studio and others as, somebody, who's just not a dork, but has a little bit of business sense and all this. And that's really always been my push to everybody is it's great to be a good artist. And obviously you need to have talent. But the other side of it is, you got to have some business sense, at least know how to sign a contract, and, and all this. And it's just like, oh, wow, and know some basics about copyrights and all this. And so I always go back to that. And it just amazes me that will wear people out. And it's like, it's what I read the other day, that really college comes down to like 5 minutes. It's like if you took a foreign language, there's a certain sentence you say in Spanish. Economics is supply and demand. There you go. I mean, that's that's all you need to know about economics. It's supply and demand. Business, buy low, sell high. I mean, and there you go. And it's just like, it's not that big of a deal. So so I'm like, I spent 20 grand or whatever it was back in the 70s. And that's really what it came down to is today. It's like, hey, So anyway, but yes, I like the Alliance.
But yeah, exactly.
Take. Yep.
C2E2. That was the first convention that I actually got to meet you. We're going to just kind of take a step back here because,
sure.
2009, C2E2 is the very first convention.
It was 2010.
No, 2009.
10.
No, 9. Okay. All right, I'm looking this up. Hang on a second.
Okay.
And if it's 2010, it's 2010.
No, I'm embarrassed. I thought it was 10.
No,
I didn't know. Oh, really?
No, you were.
Anyway, go ahead. You were saying.
I was saying.
That first C2E2, yes.
Yes, that first C2E2. No, you're right. My bad. Never mind. 2010?
I may be old and a pothead, but hey, I remember that. I wasn't high here.
Yeah, exactly. 2010 was the very first convention I met you, Don, Antoine, everyone like that. And, from that time to now, do you feel that C2E2 has solidified itself as the Midwest convention?
You broke up there on that question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you feel that C2E2 has solidified itself as the Midwest convention?
Yes. Sorry. Yes, it has. The response I'm hearing from people that it's grown each year. It's gotten better. And even this year, I think they've put Artist Alley toward the front instead of in the back, which I think is a great step to showing that they're really wanting to support the comics community. It's one thing to put DC and Marvel and all those big shots up front, but then to move us up there. Because, everybody kind of strolled through all the T-shirts and DCs and all that stuff and the big name actors, which is great to have that kind of a draw. But ultimately, they're back there to enjoy comics and artists. And that's us, and Artist Alley. And I think the Artist Alley is the backbone of comic cons, true comic cons. And so C2E2 has shown its support to that, and therefore people turn out for it. Whereas the other Comic Con in Chicago is very much based on, hey, I've got Patrick Stewart here, I've got this name here, and you guys in the back just whatever. And by the time they get back to us, they've spent all their money. There was nothing to draw people to the back when I did the other one in 11 or whatever it was. Yeah, 2011. And I'm not trying to put them down. It's just comparing the two shows. One show supports Artist Alley and the comics, and the other one is more supporting the industry people, which is, and that's their gig, and that's what they're good at. Cool. But don't really call yourself a comic convention. I really think San Diego is no longer a Comic Con. They call it Comic Con, and the events are based on comic stuff like Spider-Man, Superman, all this, which is fantastic. But when it comes down to people like me, no, it's not a Comic Con. Even the big shots, that we would call in our industry, the PvP and all that, I don't think they show up there anymore because I don't know. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm hearing more and more people like that saying they're not going because of the fact that it is more of a industry show than it is about Comic Cons and all that. And again, I would love to go to San Diego. Great show. I mean, huge and lots of people, but it's a different type of Comic Con. And C2E2, is really put an effort to make sure the artist like me, even a little guy like me, is supported and has an opportunity. And I think that's great. And I think people turn out for that.
I was wondering, because you kind of touched upon it there, saying San Diego is no longer Comic-Con. It's more of a media frenzy.
Yes.
But I'm getting a feeling that a lot of the comic convention, or a lot of the conventions, let me take a step back, are becoming more media focused, more more actor, more entertainment industry. You know, it seems like they're not realizing that the comics were or should still be the main draw.
Yeah.
No,
I agree with you. You know, I think to a certain extent, they got to have people, the people that come, even though they're looking for people in Artist Alley, and those types of, you know, independent artists are still. I mean, they still do cosplay, and most of those characters are Star Wars or Superman or something like that, and all that. And so they have those people there as part of a draw. But it depends on what the focus is. You know, the people, the stars of C2E2 are typically against the one side, and you have to basically walk the entire con to see them, which led them back to originally Artist Alley, and now, as it's up front, they get bombarded by us, and then they go through and get back to the star attractions, which is fine. So, I mean, if they have some people from The Walking Dead and all that, and it'll bring in the Walking Dead fans, because it was originally a graphic novel first, obviously, so that has a tie-in, and that I don't mind, you know. And again, the other Comic-Con did that. I mean, they'd have Patrick Stewart in, which is Star Trek, which is not really a comic book base, but you know, it has its following for that. And all that, and again, I didn't mind that. It's just the way they managed it, and C2E2 manages it better, I think, by again just the layout and traffic flow, and that's a big deal. But you're right, a lot of the conventions are really promoting, hey, you know, we've got this name here, we've got this name, you know, coming in, and I think that's just the marketing part of it. You know, you've got to have some type of a draw because, you know, you're not going to advertise that Byron Wilkins is going to, because you know what, I'm not going to draw people in like, you know, the Walking Dead's, you know, cast, but people will want to look eventually for someone like me because they're looking for new talent, or they're looking for, you know, the little independent guy. And I think it's how the Comic-Con support the independent artists like us. And if you're not getting supported, then why go? You know, because you're not going to make your money back. And C2E2 is not cheap. You know, it's $450 for a full table. And $250 for a half table or something like that.
Yeah, back in Artist Alley.
Yeah. Well, it's still. I mean, I think that's what I paid this year was $450. Yeah. For the. So anyway, and whatever. I mean, that's people know this.
It's common knowledge. It's
fairly common knowledge, that, you know, type of thing. Yep.
Rolling sound speed.
Yep.
Yeah. That was just.
Speed. That's actual film days.
Yeah.
Up to speed. Yeah.
Oh God.
With videos, just click. But anyway.
Yeah. No, I had to hold the boom mic and all that other stuff today, so it was rather interesting.
Boom! I'm being followed by a boom shadow.
No, I had it on my hip, so because I'm so short, and if I hold it up, it's going to start tipping or whatever. So anyway.
Gotcha.
Moving on.
Sure. There we go. Hey, we'll talk about video production. I've got 25 years in the video industry. I can tell you, I've done it all.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting into that documentary I was going to do in August. I am going to go through with that. I was talking with actually one of the guys that produced Sesame Street is actually a professor at my university.
Oh, cool.
And so I was talking with him. I showed him the podcast and all that other stuff, and he wants me to, I think, work on there's a TV studio as well, and so he's trying to put together another show or whatever similar to Sesame Street. So, anyhow, so he has some equipment that I may be able to use for Fan Expo.
Oh.
So, and this time I'll have actual film people that I've actually worked with to actually get this shit done right.
Yeah, know how to do it. That helps. No, it does help.
No. Headphones. It's what's for dinner.
Yeah. A microphone that works. I'm about to get this. You know, silly things like that.
No. It's physically turning up the volume. Is what it was.
Yeah. Oh well. Now we live and learn.
Interns,
you know.
Interns.
Anyway.
But when it comes to new projects, obviously you want to do commissions and you want to really get into that area drawing again.
Yeah,
because you've always been a good pinup artist. You just haven't had the time to physically do it.
Exactly. And that was what I said I was finding was, I'd be drawing a comic and I was like, ooh, I'd get inspired to do something else. And I was like, nuts, I got to get the comic done. And then it's like, I ran out of time to do it. And it's like, I was fighting for the limited time that I have. And that's why I thought, hey. Did you go away?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay, sorry. No, anyway, there's dead air. Sorry, I thought it broke off.
No, it's doing the usual stuff. But
another edit point. Nah, just let it go. Everybody can just stare at me.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, they'll see the blurriness. They'll be like, my eyes, they're blurring. Now, I know with C2E2 is obviously the main convention you go to.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's local. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, have you heard of any other conventions that are besides the Wizard World?
Well, I want to go to Heroes Con. Everybody talks about that, mm-hmm. and again, I've heard that they treat artists like myself very, very well. They promote it well. I'm so jealous of Dawn Griffin of Zorpert and Fred because where she lives, there's seems like 100 conventions around her. Seems like every weekend she's somewhere, and I really want to get out to some of those because she's done very well with them. Mm. I forget one, Philly, she talks about, of course. And,
Philly, Baltimore.
Yeah, there's several of them. It's like every other weekend. I don't know how she finds time for this. It's amazing. And having product ready. But anyway, and of course she's organized and I'm not. But they want to do New York, and I've been trying to, and every time I try to get to New York, it just... something physical. It's like karma's fighting me. So I'm kind of not leaning towards New York. But those other ones, like I said, in South Carolina, there's Heroes Con. And Robin Dempsey of Ley Lines has been talking about this convention out in Denver that she's actually going to in a week or so here. She went last year. And it's a relatively new one, kind of like C2E2. It's relatively new. And I want to see how it gets on its feet because I love Denver. It's a great area. I wish it wasn't in April because Denver is really nice, like in May and June. Get up into the foothills and go hiking and stuff like that. You know where they make Coors. It's really nice. I've walked in the stream that feeds the plant. Like, hey. Anyway.
You realize that the mountain is just a picture. It's not something that you can...
I walked up the mountain. It's a real mountain. Oh my God! Anyway, I was only 22 or something like 23 or whatever when I did that, so I could do that back then. Today, I'm not walking up; I'm driving up the mountain. You can drive up, or you can walk up like fools. Well, let's walk. Sure.
Robin Dempsey is one of the newer members of Webcomic Alliance actually, and she's done some really great stuff. She has some great knowledge as well, and
oh yeah,
I really enjoy the video aspect she brings too to the.
It's amazing. She does great stuff. Yeah, I'm kind of jealous. Like, what the hell? And she's crazy. I mean, certifiably crazy. She really, Dawn was always a crazy chick, but I think Robin is taking over the crazy chick. It's like, oh my God, in a very nice way. I mean, she knows she'll laugh about it when I say this, but it's like, holy crap, what comes out of your mouth, Robin? Scares me.
So I guess I won't have as bad of a time editing this one than you do with the other stuff. So
there you go. Anyway.
Yeah. Oops. Wait, I was supposed to edit that? Oh, damn it.
Jump cut. How come Byron's hand's moving all over the place?
Wasn't as bad as when I jerked Manning on. He was drinking a pop, and it went from this full down to this. And it's just like, great. What are you doing to me? So you've gotten together with a lot of local Chicago creators, and that's great to see. I mean, Chicago's a great city. I've always loved it. I always love visiting it. But when it comes to the pinup styles, I mean, obviously this is something a little more newer for you. I mean, you've always done pinups before, but as a business model, it's something that's a little more different than the usual stuff. So
yeah. And that's going to take a bit of a learning curve on that as well, and to figure out exactly what they want. I seem to get a lot of reaction when I do the pinups, and it's a favorable, response. And it's like, and I put out the word that's like, yeah, I'm thinking about doing a book, and I got a lot more response than I did if I said, hey, I'm putting out a 1977 book. And I was like, okay, well, that kind of like put two and two together. Again, business sense, go with what your audience is wanting to demand, and give them that. And it's like, I certainly had a good readership at 1977, but I wasn't making a lot of money with it. And it's like, well, I can do that for free, or I can draw pinups and get paid. Again, business sense, even though I love 1977 and everybody was sad to see it go. Excuse me, snip. It's like, duh, do I do it for free or get paid? No, I get paid. Come on.
Yeah, no. And I see a lot of artists that do this style, or at least do avatars or do whatever. I mean, Large Souls is one that does that.
Yep.
When he has time, type,
sure.
He will do a user and say, okay, the store's up and here you go, type thing. I mean,
yes.
I mean, for your work though, are you still attaching all of your commissions and stuff to 1977, or are you?
No, I do the Tier 1 Studios is now my commissions, my art portfolio site, and that's where you would get a hold of that stuff. And then I've moved my web business to a tr1.com, and so I've moved that away so that my clients, because I can't have both on the same thing, type of thing. But I'm starting to do less and less of the web work too. So I mean, because again, it's not I'm not as good at it as the younger people are. I'm not trying to play it old here. It's just, but hey, I was trained in a different era. And it's like, so I'm thinking HTML and everything's CSS now and PHP. And it's like, I could learn it, but I've been learning drawing, and I've been moving away from that. And so it's like, okay, fine. So I put the video and the web onto its own separate site, and I've got the tr1studios.com that you get that. So yeah, I'm beginning to, move, things over and put more up there, because it's like, well, that's, I'm so used to putting up in 1977. No. Really, it's kind of on hold, and no, I shouldn't be doing that anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good that they can still go to the site and reread the archive and all that other stuff, and that's the main thing.
There's like 500 comics there, so I mean, there's a lot there, and I'm going to leave it up. There's no reason to take it down. It costs me very little per year to have it up there. So like, hey, have at it. And it's a good storage site and all that. And again, people will find me, and there's links then to the to my other, and and so people that follow me there, I'll stick something up and it'll go out to the RSS feed. And that's just it. If I do follow up on these stories, which I really, really want to finish, I'll put them up at 1977, and that way it spits out on the RSS, and people will eventually catch on. It's like, oh, there's something there now. And all that. And so I don't see any reason why people, it's technically retired, but I could occasionally, if I do something and it comes up, hey, I'll stick it up there, and there you go. I just didn't want to be committed to doing it 2 times a week and letting readers down. And I think they'd rather hear, oh, there's something new after a month or two, and that's really nice. It's a couple pages or whatever, as opposed to, oh, he's late again. Yeah. Which was more and more in my head. It's like, oh, if I don't get this done, I'm going to be late. And I hate that. And it was like, oh, want to get something done.
No, exactly. And you don't want to stress yourself out. You don't want to pressure yourself to force you to do something that obviously isn't you're not going to put your heart into it.
Right. And it's not good work, and it's bad for everybody. It's bad for the readers. It's bad for me. It doesn't encourage people to go, well, if he's doing a crap job on his own comic, why should I hire him for commission? Yeah. And so it's like, hey, so I want to stop it when I was doing some of my better work on it. And it's like, I'm very proud of the work I've did there. I like I said, I love those characters. They were a part of my life for a long time, got me through a lot of things, as did the Alliance folks and you and all that. And because my life in the past 3 years have been a little rough, but it's turned the corner, and I thought, okay, so it's like, once again, you take that turn, what's now? And it's like, there you go.
Just trying to think, is there anything that I haven't brought up that you'd like to share with of course, your fans, the Webcomic Alliance listeners or watchers, and TGT?
Oh, I don't know. Rock and roll, folks. Just not in that order. I don't know. It's I'll just say real quick that, it's in a way, it's a relief not be doing the comic, but I already miss it. And because like I said, I particularly since Bud was partly me and all this, and it was kind of a life story in a way, fictional, historic. I think what do they call that anyway? Historical fiction, and all that. So it was somewhat based on what happened in 1977, and certainly in my life, a lot of it was more real than you thought, except for the transformation part. I didn't never made a deal with the devil and all that, but that part of it, and so it was really hard to stop that, and I miss it a great deal. So I know I'll be back to it and all that, but I think I think people have got to be able to set their heart aside and make business decisions, and that's really I always come back to that, and that's what I made. I made a business decision. It's like, well, I need to do this because my career is taking me that way, and my livelihood's more and more of that. So it's like I don't have time to do it for free anymore, type of thing. I want to, and I think I will get back to it and all that. And I also have other comic ideas, and I just think I can't do more than one at a time. I mean, me. And so I really thought, hey, I'll try this other comic idea. Now that won't happen until next year. I can tell you that right now. I won't launch that till 2014 because I want to get a buffer. I want to get the characters developed in a storyline. Do it right, because I learned from 1977 because I didn't do it right the first time with it. And it's like, oh, let's introduce characters properly. Let's put all this stuff out, properly, and and lay out a storyline and do it properly. Because now I know how to tell a story and all that stuff. So there you go. There you go. That's my last final thought. Don't do drugs unless they're good.
Or unless they're free.
Hey. You got to watch those, though. Occasionally they can be, it's only been stepped on twice. I heard that once. It's only been stepped on twice? Okay.
So that means it's really worked in. Anyhow.
Yes.
I was going to ask, instead of printing books, though, were you referring to a digital format, like a downloadable content?
1977 was all digital, yeah. The pinup stuff is actually, I'm looking to do it in print. And like I said, I was kind of jokingly, but like a coffee table style book, a 12 by 12 size book. And they make those, fairly good size. Because it's it's not centerfold size, but kind of album size. That's my era, and I've been wanting to do some takeoffs of album style pinups as well, and because there's a lot of those Candy O by the Cars and all that. But anyway, an actual print book, and of course I'll offer it in digital. But I think stuff like that, if people better appreciate in actual print. And see, I'm breaking my own rule because I think print's dead, but but in some things it's not, and that's one of the areas where it's not. People really want to read and look at that as opposed to having it on the monitor, even though it's much higher resolution monitor. You want to see more anyway.
Whoa, man! The pixels are just so big.
Colors.
Okay.
Not even... he's in jail. Anyway. All right.
Oh. It's always a good show when you laugh at least 20 times when I have you on. So that's
I enjoy it, and you all need to laugh. And if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? Absolutely. And number one rule: have fun, man.
Well, I think that's going to wrap up this part 3 of 3 with the edits.
Never said it's easy.
I've been doing this too long. I know it's not easy.
No, it's not easy.
But as always, Byron, thank you so much for coming on. And I got to get you back on as a co-host. It's been too
long. I think I have some time now, so we'll start doing that.
Well, I got a couple of film people actually that are coming
cool.
on in the next month or two that you might be interested. But
throw me some dates and I'll try and get there.
Sounds good. All right. Well, that ends this episode 301, because Byron is number 1 in my book here. So, not just this one.
I know. I went the right finger.
And of course, you can see his work at TR
Studios. So the number 1 TR1 Studios. Because I'm
all together. All together, no dash, right?
Yeah, all together. Yep.
And of course, you look at his past 500 plus comics on 1977, like thecomic.com. Look, of course, at the various videos and blogs and podcasts at webcomicalliance.com as well. Yep. Listen to Byron, Don, Drez, and Robin and Chris Flick, of course, and the gang there at Webcomic Alliance. And of course, catch Byron at C2E2 at Artist Alley. I mean, you got to check him out. Buy his commissions. I'm sure he'll be more than willing to help you with whatever commission idea you have as well. Too. So,
bring a little something to it.
yeah, great style, great colors, and of course, boobs. So
that's right.
No matter what character,
makes your day.
Makes the world go round. But
sure it does.
But thanks everyone for listening. Thanks everyone for watching, and of course, tune in next week for another great interview with Hayden Casserly from Scapula. Actually,
oh, cool! That's a great comic.
Yeah, I love it.
I love his work. Yeah,
back on too, and and it's Comics Month. That's right. May is no, we're in April. Yeah, April is Comics Month. Is what's happening.
Yeah, that's next month. So this is April. Anyway.
Yeah, whatever. Anyhow, Aiden's next.
All right.
Enjoy.
He's number 2. Anyway.
Number 2?
Yes.
All right, that's it.